you're just around these people who know everything and know the same experiences as entrepreneurs. I mean, the same thing we're all looking for, that camaraderie. And I was like on the plane home after doing a lot of long business with them and was like, man, this is just sucks. Like, what am I going to do? Like, they're just so far away. And they had been pushing me, like, you got to join EO, you got to join EO. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to have to fill this gap because I don't know what else I'm going to do. I'm also in business with my identical twin sister. She and I own this together, which is fantastic. Truly. We love to push back against the don't go into business with family idea because you can, and you can successfully. However, having an outlet and a place to discuss things business related outside of the family is another reason that EO is perfect.
Welcome to The Decision from Nashville EO, where you will hear the rest of the story after tough decisions were made by entrepreneurs who faced adversity and lived to tell about it.
Welcome to The Decision, the podcast by and for EO Nashville, as we talk to EO Nashville members about all the fun they have starting, growing, scaling, exiting businesses, and all the fun that we have in between. My name is Eric Jackson, and with me as always, my co-host, Mr. Robert Hartline.
Good to be here with you, my friend. It's been a while. It's been a few weeks since we've done a recording together.
It has been.
Yeah.
I'm a grandfather now.
That's right.
And as a grandfather, you have to tell everybody that you're a grandfather.
We got to get into that
later.
We got to get into that in a minute.
Yeah, it's undefeated. It's the best.
Yeah, it's the best.
Yeah. With us today, Carla Pierson with Smiley Aesthetics. Welcome.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
We got to have a little bit of a conversation around the biocharger out in the lobby, as we do, and discovered that you're a relatively new member. One of the reasons that we started this podcast is we wanted to capture these conversations that EO members have about the experience they have with EO. So as a relatively new minted member of EO, I would like to know, what has your experience been like so far?
Sure. I have taken the opportunity and advantage of diving in. So like I was telling you earlier, it's only been a few months, I think, since August of 2025, but just really have put myself in there and out there because this was fulfilling a missing piece, like a lot of us feel. So it has been a wonderful experience so far, and not even just saying that because we're on this. It has been great. I've met a lot of people. I'm in a strong forum and really connected with all of them. I go on our first forum retreat Wednesday next week. Awesome. So excited to break down some barriers there and really get close to some people. So it has really been, it's really been fantastic.
Excellent. How did you discover EO?
Yes. I did some business with some friends of mine that are very close within Tulsa, and they're in EO and they're bleeders, as we like to say. They just are all about it all the time. And leaving them in the arena that we were in doing business together was like almost traumatic, like, cause you're just around these people who know everything and know the same experiences as entrepreneurs. I mean, the same thing we're all looking for, that camaraderie. And I was like on the plane home after doing a lot of long business with them and was like, man, this is just sucks. Like, what am I going to do? Like, they're just so far away. And they had been pushing me, like, you got to join EO, you got to join EO. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to have to fill this gap because I don't know what else I'm going to do. I'm also in business with my identical twin sister. She and I own this together, which is fantastic. Truly. We love to push back against the don't go into business with family idea because you can, and you can successfully. However, having an outlet and a place to discuss things business related outside of the family is another reason that EO is perfect.
What were you doing before the business?
I was the director of nursing for Health Trust for HCA for the GPO. So I did the contracts that we use in the hospitals. About 1,800 hospitals were up under my purview for contracts in different things, from an alcohol swab to a robot. If it was going to come into one of our hospitals that the GPO managed, I was the nurse that made sure it was practical.
How did the decision come to start your own business?
Yes, great question. So Mary, my twin sister, is an addict, and she was a CRNA, so she's a nurse anesthetist. And she struggled with addiction, and so needed to get away from just that environment and take a break from that type of stuff for her own health. And so she was working in medical aesthetics, and every Botox day is a very happy day. And so she was just really enjoying it, and she's very talented as an injector. And she asked me, "Do you want to do Botox on the side? We should look at like concierge, like go to people's homes. Like, man, there's a real like need here." And I was, of course, like, no, I don't. Thank you so much for offering, though. But of course, being twins, I was like, fine, we'll do this. And just my business, I have an MBA, and so I have some idea of the financial stuff. And working with HCA, I was like, all right, I can do that part with you. And so we kind of kicked it off just doing concierge Botox. He was kind of the injector, and then
How would people find out about you?
Well, word of mouth starting out. It was just me and her. And so we just put in like a mom group, my neighborhood mom group, that I'll be doing a concierge Botox. You guys, if someone wants it, you don't got to drive to Nashville. I lived out in Bellevue at the time. She was in Knoxville. And it took off when someone realized someone down the street would very safely and compliantly do their Botox right in their own home. It was an attractive situation. So that's where it started. It has evolved from there.
Yeah, I mean, you got multiple spots. I mean,
Yes.
What was your first spot?
So we started in 2022. Our first med spa opened in September and October, one in Nashville, one in Knoxville. We opened them concurrently. We're a platform, though, for medical providers to own and operate their own aesthetics businesses. So we kind of saturated, and Mary was like, we need to hire somebody. And I was like, man, I was still working for HCA. So this was like on the side for me. I was like, I don't want to manage anybody else. I've been in leadership my whole career at HCA. And so we created a model for people to own and operate their own businesses, a platform. So then we could work with them, yet we didn't have to manage them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then we just opened the med spas because that just seemed to make sense. And so I left HCA a few months later to pursue this. And that was scary and terrifying. Talk about a decision.
Yeah.
Ooh. My husband should be on here talking about it.
Well, tell us about that experience of making that.
Yeah, it was terrifying. Again, being an EO, I guess I wouldn't have been at that time. You can leave, HCA is a company you can leave, and you can come back within 6 months and have your full kind of tenure come back. And I had been there, I think 12 years. So it's a pretty big, or maybe even 13. So when I left, I had that 6 months timer. About 3 months in, I had to decide whether, start thinking about whether I needed to go back, like try to find a position, or this was going to be it. But when I left HCA and turned my attention fully, truly to Smiley, we went from having done a couple 100,000 in revenue in our last quarter in 2022, we did like 500. Like, it just was amazing and so I encourage entrepreneurs a lot of times, or the businesses that we help. It is terrifying, but you're never going to be one's going to hit the ceiling because the other one hit the ceiling, and you can't break through unless you drop the other one. And that is terrifying because you're used to making two, and you got to drop one in order for two. So two goes back to one before it can go back up. And so it was just terrifying is the only way to describe it.
Well, it's really a story of focus, right?
Yeah.
Where you put your energy at. And
yes.
And what I'm also seeing a theme, because HCA is all designed around scale.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds like you're building more scale from the get-go.
Yes.
Instead of focusing on multiple locations, you're like, okay, platform, people use our system.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you mind sharing the story of HCA? Because there's a lot of Nashvillians that don't know the story of HCA, and I have a version of the story, and I'd love to hear your version of the story.
You mean clarify version as in how it
started with
Dr. Frisk?
Dr. Frisk,
Mm-hmm.
and then how fried chicken comes into play.
Oh gosh.
Okay. Then
you share your version.
I'll share mine.
I'm not sure.
So a lot of people don't realize that HCA, Bill Frisk, when he was growing up in high school, he lost his dad. He was also a doctor, I think, by trade.
Yes.
And so he put himself through medical school doing laundry. So he had his own business. And then he actually opened the first hospital in town called Parkview.
Mm-hmm.
And while he's growing his hospital, his two kids are in school, and they met a guy named Jack Massey. Jack Massey is wildly interesting because Jack Massey bought Colonel Sanders'
Yes.
KFC. for $2 million and sold it, I think 8 years later for $274 million in the early 70s. Wow. And what's really crazy about that, I tell people this story all the time, and I'll tell you this wilder story behind that. But anyway, Jack Massey meets the two Frisk brothers, and he's like, your daddy should open a bunch of hospital chains. And I've always had this vision of this conversation of here is Dr. Frisk, who a heart doctor, and is looking at all these people eating fried chicken all over the world because all these KFCs are everywhere, right?
Opportunity.
And he's like, look at all these sick people. I can open all these hospitals. It's a total scale story, right? What's crazy about this story, I've been telling that story for about a year because I talk about 10X users and 2X all the time. And long story short, I went, I do EOS, and I went to this, I go teach this team in Raleigh, North Carolina, and I was at this hangar. It was really awesome. And anyway, I go to the airport, and there is Bill Frisk Jr. at the Southwest terminal, sitting at the terminal. And I was like, well, that's weird. I've been talking about him all this time, and he's at the terminal. Anyway, I sat down. I was like, you know what? If God really wants me to say something to him, he'll put him right next to me on the plane. And so as soon as I got on the plane, he sat right next to me.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I was like, okay, first off, why are you on a Southwest flight? And he said he was speaking at Duke University, which makes sense. He's not his private jet. They're worth like $26 billion. They got a fleet of jets. Anyway, but I did get to ask him that question. I asked him, did your daddy scale HCA because of all the fried chicken that people were going to eat?
What did he say?
He denied it. Totally denied it.
He's lovely. My husband is the basketball coach and associate athletic director at Innsworth, which of course, obviously.
Oh yeah, they started that.
Yes,
right? Yeah.
And they're still present. Tommy Frisk Jr. is still very much around.
So was scale part of the business plan from the very beginning? Were you thinking, no?
No, I could never imagine we would be where we are today. But it was more my type A flaws that caused it, I think, to happen. I was also a surveyor for HCA before I was in the GPO, when my kids were younger and before I had kids. So I would go around to the different hospitals and survey them for Joint Commission and CMS standards. And that structure, HCA is so structured, and everyone knows that. I loved it. It works well for me. I like knowing what the rules are, what I can and cannot do. And so that experience is really what led into when Mary, we were doing the concierge. I was like, yeah, I don't think this is totally right. I'm not totally sure this is how we're allowed to do these things. I'm just a nurse. I have a doctorate in leadership, but not in nursing leadership, but I'm still just an RN by trade. I'm not an advanced practice provider. And so it just seemed odd that I was doing kind of what I was doing. I'm like, is this right? I don't know. Because Mary's an advanced practice provider. It was just strange. And so that's really what got the platform thing kind of going, and realizing that aesthetics is kind of the wild, wild west in a lot of ways. And it's not very regulated. Now it's regulated from all the ways that matter, but it's just, yeah. So looking at all those laws and statutes and understanding how they apply to aesthetics is how the platform was kind of built, and then helping other people understand them as well. And so that naturally sets some foundational stuff. And then I like Excel sheets. So accounting and all that type of stuff. I just, started some of those things on the front end, and then quickly realized other nurses, we just are not trained. Unfortunately, nursing is trade school for all intents and purposes. It's terrible. And I want to lobby for change, because nurses are, the skill set for nurses is so transferable into so many things, especially entrepreneurship. I was a trauma nurse when I was first an RN, an open heart nurse and a trauma nurse. And it's just made for us. It's made for type A. It's made for this type of thing. We're made for entrepreneurship. We just have no skills and no training in it in nursing school. And
I had never considered that before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so you were able to translate those skills into,
Yes.
It just kind of came naturally after that.
Yes. I had a neurosurgeon when I was at Centennial, Parkview, now Centennial, of course, HJ's flagship. And he told me, he goes, get an MBA. Because I was already in leadership at that time. And he was like, that's what you need, because nurses just, you want to sit at the same table as a CEO, then have the same degree. And I was like, nailed it. His name's Dr. Valdivia. He was the start of the neuro program at Centennial. Fantastic man.
Is there some parallels between nursing and entrepreneurship that
Yes.
I wouldn't see?
It's the skill set it's not so much that's where it's a challenge, which is interesting you asked. So it's the skill set that it takes to take care of 6 people, 8 people, 2 people, whatever it is. Stay focused, stay task oriented, get XYZ done. You have a set amount of time, like go, go, go. But what's not really transferable is that you go in, you take your patients, they hand them to you. You have the supplies you need. You're not worried about any of that. If I need something, I go get it. I go scan it. I use it. I don't care if it costs $2 or $1,500. Right. And then I go home and I get to forget about that type of stuff. So that part is not transferable because for a business owner, it's the opposite. It's almost, it's kind of a constant concern. So it's a skill set that's transferable, but then kind of a day-to-day that's not so much. So that's what we realized and how we help. And part of some of the foundation of the platform is helping nurses realize you can do this, but it is a little bit different. You don't get to just, drop something on the floor and go get a new one. You drop that bottle of Botox, it is going to be painful. You're going to be very upset that you dropped those dollars on the floor. So it's a combination of the two.
What was the biggest challenge in starting a new business? Being that I assume you had been in business before.
No, I hadn't. But again, HCA is so business oriented in so many ways. Even as a nursing leader, you're already knee deep in budgets and all kinds of stuff. So you do, again, those skills were there and were learned. And my MBA was very valuable. Some people say it's a waste. I completely disagree. I had a fantastic experience and really learned a lot. Time at the beginning was the most challenging thing. And then I always tell people, we cheated. Y'all, we are identical twins. There were 2 of us and we think the exact same. So like where some people ask, how did y'all do it so fast? I'm like, well, there were 2 of us. So, and we're the same. So it's like having the exact same train, except double powered on one track. And that is an anomaly that there's not a value you can really put on that. For it to go that way. Even 2 partners, they're on 2 tracks.
Every time I meet twins, they always say something like that.
Yeah, it's
especially when you're identical.
Yes, and I would agree with that too.
Well, it's an unfair hack.
Yes.
I mean, you have to be born with it.
Correct.
Right. To have a partner that kind of thinks like you.
Right. Are
there any times where you diverge and have differences of opinion, and how do you work through it?
Definitely. Forum. No, I'm kidding. A lot in forum. No, there are plenty of times where we diverge. What is fascinating about Mary and I think a lot of identical twins will agree, our employees have to get used to, and we actually warn them now in interviews. It's fantastic. We're like, listen, it's a lot because we're very energetic. If you can't tell, like very both type A, it's a lot of energy. It's a lot of steam going one direction and then a lot of steam going in opposite directions at times. And so we have to tell our employees like, listen, you guys think that the world just ended. Like, the business is going to close tomorrow. And I'll be like, yo, you still coming over for spaghetti? What, do I need to pick up the kids? Our boys go to the same school. We live a mile apart. Like we spend all of our life together. So it is uniquely also the ability to move on and separate. Right. People like, you can't separate the personal and business. I'm like, actually, it's a superpower that we can. Whereas I think other partners struggle because they're not so personally close, which I know is an opposite a thing of the normal way of thinking.
What's the different roles that you play?
So I am she's the clinical lead. She is an AMI trainer, a master injector. She's just so talented, truly, and an artist, and I'm not. So she likes to talk about being a visionary. We enjoy EOS system. She very much fits that visionary. We both, though, have some of the tendencies, but I am very much an operator. And so I do all of our business and finances and operations and built the systems and SOPs get me out of bed in the morning and stuff like that. So it's a different.
So I imagine you have to tell her no sometimes.
Yes, that is. But she's very respectful of it. Like it just works really well. Like we get into it sometimes. We try to keep it offline, but and she's done a lot better. Part of some of our early issues, you said starting a business, one of our big issues is not getting distracted by that shiny thing. And especially in medical aesthetics, which is this booming industry of growth and new and vitality and all this stuff, seeing those diamonds, I'm like, nope, look back. Nope, come back to me. No, come back to me. And those were some of our most challenging times in the beginning was not letting the vision and the diamonds get too distracting.
You know, something I wanted to come back to because I think some people would be curious about Botox because Botox is more than just aesthetics of a face, right?
Right.
Isn't there something else behind some benefits of Botox that people are not familiar with?
Well, Botox has been around for cosmetically since like 1996, I think, but medically for a very long time. So it's used, urologists are one of the biggest users, use it for all kinds of stuff. It was found by, it's botulism. So it was found by botulism causing paralysis in a very negative way. Yeah. But then that also causing things to stop moving can be quite positive in the body in a variety of ways. So they use it for bladder spasms and all kinds of medical uses, migraines, stopping the muscles around your head from squeezing when you get a pressure, like a tension headache, essentially, neck pain. I mean, any kind of thing where you can tell the muscle, calm down. We're not paralyzing you to death where you can't, people imagine like full paralysis. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about softening things. My face still moves. It just softens. So then obviously translated into cosmetics as it relates to wrinkles in the face, but by far more medicinal uses in the body than just the cosmetic space.
I've heard a lot of stuff about depression. Is that true?
Not that I'm aware of.
Really? I've heard
in
that
fact,
some people
it's the opposite.
Really?
Because from a cosmetic perspective,
no, not that it causes it, that it treats depression.
Oh, I was going to say, yes. So yes. Now, chemically, I'm not going to speak to that. And of course, this is not medical advice. Yeah. But from a depression standpoint, it's the cosmetic effects of confidence and looking better and feeling better and brighter. And that's in men and women. Women obviously have a more dramatic effect because our faces aren't as strong. But for men, even, like, it's going from just tired and looking exhausted to just looking fresh. And looking at yourself and looking fresh psychologically makes you feel fresh. And so a lot of that matters, what you see in the mirror every day. If you don't like it or you feel or look tired or whatever the case is, that then makes your mind believe that you are, and you can see how that cycles. So it does have a direct impact on positive and confidence and positive outlook on yourself.
So men. You were talking about let's talk about men. You're going down that path now, right?
Yes.
Talk a little bit about how you arrived at that and where it's headed and what your experience has been so far.
It was a little over a year ago where we were on a strategic call with Allergan, and who makes Botox, and they said that 1 in 4 men, she just shocked me and Mary. We were like, jaws hit the floor. 1 in 4 visitors to the cosmetic Botox site, Botox.com, is a man. And we were like, what? And that was in like 2023. So wow. It was shocking to us. So that's when the idea of, we need to do is there a men's med spa? Like, is there a men's only, for all intents and purposes, med spa? Yeah, there's not. They're just not a thing. There's a lot of wellness, testosterone, male enhancement type stuff, which is all stuff that we're going to offer, but there's not really a safe space where a guy can go into a room much like this that's not so feminine, not so med spa-y, and get a service and not feel like they're blasting themselves in an uncomfortable state to everybody else in the waiting room. So we are set to open for him, hopefully in May of this year. We're constructing a building over here in Sylvan Park and hoping to get that open in May, maybe June, and launch the Smiley Aesthetics for him is going to be the brand. Did Mary, was she like the visionary saying, let's go here? Oh, it was like all Mary. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. Yes.
Did she have to convince you or?
Not really. I see when she said that, we were both on that meeting. But it's more the undertaking of just opening another place and all that type of stuff where I'm always like, okay. But buying purchasing the building and the real estate and stuff like that made sense for the business. So, that concept, I'm excited about it as well. I'm nervous. But from a vision perspective, she was all in it. We have a surgery center. Like she was partnered with a lot of those things are Mary. I cannot deny that.
But it's also, the physical space, the design for men, for like just all to be her. Wow.
She designed the inside. Her husband works with us. He's our director of med spa ops. He's fantastic. Well, he works for me. We keep that part separate. And between him and her, they just did a great job of designing it. It's going to have like a speakeasy feel, like hunter green.
Oh, wow.
Kind of just very cigar bar, almost like just a more comfortable place for a man to walk in and get Botox.
Nice.
Yeah. We'll see. Fingers crossed.
I get some need for it too. I think we're going to be over there.
I'll invite you guys.
What would you say one of the biggest decisions that you've had to struggle with or had to navigate has been?
I have 2 really. So I don't know if we'll have time to get into both, but the most recent one that is we almost recorded this a few weeks ago, and if we had, it would have been quite different, is we were under LOI to actually sell our business. And I say sell, I mean partner. We would lose majority ownership, but we'd still be major players in the game, of course, and in our industry, long employment contracts, things like that. And we decided, Mary and I decided that it wasn't the right time. It wasn't the right move. It was attractive, and they are the right partners. I still potentially see that happening with these particular people down the road, but the timing just didn't make sense. And so that is tough. Again, I should bring my husband on and talk about his feelings, because you go down that road and you think you're going to come to the end of something really, really positive personally and professionally. And then, man, it was tough to decide not to do that. It financially, very, very difficult.
Yeah. You take a big lump sum but you're still there. You're still working in it. And I haven't heard a lot of people that got a big check, staying in it. I haven't met many that love it.
I would agree with that. I think that's part of it. You hear a lot of that. I haven't heard a lot either who are happy. I have several friends, EO people, who are not excited with that. This was a platform buy in the sense of they were all in on us. There wasn't other acquisitions. We weren't going to buy other med spas and try to roll things up. So it really was us and them and all forward, in a family office. So not like a big firm or anything like that. But still, it just wasn't the right time. And those fears, the one you just mentioned, is certainly part of it.
Did you bring this up to Forum?
Yes. Oh, goodness. Yes.
Tell me what that experience was, sharing it with them.
That was unbelievable in the best way. That is what EO is truly all about. Having a place to share the feelings, which, my husband and I are very close. He's so close to Mary. Like, we're all very close, her husband, but there's still just an element of things you don't always share. I think we all know that, with people, even as close as you are. So being able to talk about, what I want, and even though that's different from maybe what my husband wants or Mary wants, in a safe space, it really made all the difference. And it helped drive us to the first time I presented it to them. The members of my forum were like, but why are you doing that? Why don't you just wait another year or two? Like, what, and that honestly was the beginning of the end. So in a lot of ways, EO very directly led to both Mary, because then of course I presented it to her and I was like, man, this is what we're talking about. And that directly led to the decision starting to change. And then as that LOI process, which is brutal, it's whatever little speed bumps happen, it just is another little kind of paper cut to the decision. And so EO definitely, on my forum, is who really started that process. I
wonder if their reaction would have been different if you were 15 years, 20 years in the business.
I'm not sure. I mean, yeah, because we're not barely 4 years in. I know, just got started.
So early.
Well, I think part of our decision to do it, we're not tired. It's just, it is a lot. It's a lot in our family. I mean, like any business, it's a lot. And, to get a lot more financially secure and just do different things is attractive. And, it's hard. It's just me and Mary making decisions in the company in a lot of ways. And oh, we gosh, have somebody else come in and look at it. I'm also just a nurse, ultimately doing, running this large business. And it's kind of like, sometimes it's imposter syndrome. Like, what business do I have doing what I'm doing? And somebody else who has that experience, where could we go together with that? So a lot of those doubts in ourselves about what next steps could be or should be, are we holding ourselves back? That type of stuff was certainly part of it. But then we're like, well, we're doing all right. It's fine. We'll wait a little bit.
If you were sitting with a brand new EO member and you were coaching them along the ride of EO, what feedback or advice would you give them on how to have a good experience in EO?
I would tell them that, in my experience, leaning in is the only way to get the most out of EO. Now, that's my experience, and it's all I've done. So I wouldn't know what not leaning in would mean. But I would challenge that it isn't as good. Leaning into, whether that's a committee, whatever it is in Nashville. I'm going to go to Nerve in the fall. I'm thrilled to death. I've only heard, it's obnoxious how many positive things you hear about every single thing EO, and especially everything Nashville EO. We have just the most amazing, smear care, and just the most unbelievable people. It's truly fantastic. So leaning in my experience, has been what has made this such a positive, almost life-altering thing. Because deciding to not sell and to not pursue that is life altering. It may not be, on paper, it may be the opposite of what you think is not getting a check or whatever, but that is a game changer for us. So leaning into EO is kind of directly what led to that in a lot of ways. And so I would say lean in and see what you can get out of it.
Thank you so much for joining.
Yeah.
If you are an entrepreneur here in Nashville and you're looking for a community, you may want to come visit eonashville.com and see how 350 of us right here in Nashville who are running businesses have a community and have, most importantly, a forum, a small group of other entrepreneurs navigating life and business together every single month. If you are interested, you can visit eonashville.com. Thanks for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your week.
Thanks for listening to the Decision Podcast by Nashville EO. We'll see you again next time, and be sure to click subscribe to get future episodes.